Welcome, everyone, to our podcast, sharing insights and experiences for game studies and engineering students here at the University of Klagenfurt. As you know, GSE is our unique master's program blending game studies with technical development skills. A big focus is on building a strong portfolio through game prototypes, preparing you to venture out and create games for a living after graduation. To shed light on that path within the Austrian context, today we're discussing the world of professional game development with a key figure, Martin Filipp. Martin is the chair of the Pioneers of Game Developers Austria, the Verband Österreichischer Spieleentwickler, or PGDA for short. Martin, a huge welcome. Thanks for taking the time. Could you perhaps start by briefly introducing yourself to our listeners, maybe sharing your personal journey into game development and what led you to your role with PGDA?
Hello and welcome everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm Martin. I am in the industry for almost 26 years now. Worked in smaller and larger studios, also spent some time abroad in Scandinavia for a couple of years. And for the last 10 years, exactly 10 years in April, I am part of Mipumi Games, an indie developer located in Vienna. And for some time now, I'm invested into the Developer Association, actually as founding member and current chair and in German Vorstand of the Developer Association, supporting and helping the Austrian scene to evolve and, to get a place where everyone feels comfortable and where it gets a little bit easier for developers starting in the industry. That's basically who I am. In my day-to-day business, I am CEO and managing director at Mipumi Games. PGDA also celebrating its 8th years of existence. So we are around for some time and trying our best to support the development scene and community in Austria.
Awesome. 8 is a round birthday for computer scientists, of course. So that is pretty cool. It's much better than the 10th birthday. Next one would be the 16th and the 32nd.
Exactly.
Awesome. So you're wearing two hats as a CEO of Mipumi Games and PGDA chair, and you already told us the core mission to let the Austrian game developer scene evolve a little bit and move it further connected. What kind of activities does the PGDA organize?
It's important to say at the beginning that we feel as a complementary institution. So we're not competing with local meetups and meetings and get-togethers that are focusing on the development side of things. We really try to offer a platform where we focus on politics and economics and also explain to decision makers that it is a job, it's a profession. We're paying taxes, we have employees in Austria, and we are a successful industry. So that is the main focus of PGDA. And on top of that, and that's the reason why we're here today, and that's the reason why I'm always very delighted to speak to education institutions as universities. We are here to support the educational part of the development scene. And we strongly believe that, especially we senior people, we need to give something back. And that's actually also my motivation personally, to spend time spend time into the association and into this voluntary work, because in the end, we're all doing this on the side, on top of our day-to-day jobs. We really want to give back and convey the experience that we gathered in order to make it easier for young talents to enter the industry and to learn from all the mistakes that we did along the way, so that it's a little bit easier for younger people. They don't need to make the same mistakes that we did. So that's actually our main motivation and engine, so to speak, and the driver for our initiative.
I can absolutely relate to that. That's also our mission in education, to prevent the errors before they happen. Why would you do the same thing all over again? We already know the wheel. We already have Unity. So bigger things are already done and people can actually use them. Awesome. Yeah, well, speaking about Austrian game developer scene, you said that you're also lobbying it for the politics to understand that this is hard work, which it absolutely is. I assume it's much harder sometimes than just being a database engineer or a PR manager. Yeah, maybe PR manager is correlated. But what is actually the game industry what it's looking like in Austria? What does it do? What are the strengths or the challenges they're currently facing?
Well, first and foremost, we are still a very young industry, young by the years that the industry exists in Austria, and young by the fact that the people that are working in games are very young. So we had recently a study about the macroeconomics of game development in Austria, and there we got confirmation due data that almost 50% of people working in games are below 35 years old, which is very young. Then a good thing talking to Klagenfurt today is we have one of the highest ratios of academic people working in an industry. So up to 80% of team members working in studios across Austria are academics. So the combination of having a young workforce, highly educated, is something that decision makers and governments of the last 10 to 15 years are always looking for. The innovative new industry, but it's already here. It's games. We're young, we are highly skilled, highly educated, driving in a industry software development that is key to the future, because that is what we actually need and want in Europe in comparison to the States, especially in the current geopolitical environment. So we don't need to search for that industry. It's here. We just need to wave little bit louder, so to speak, in order to get heard by decision makers. And that is a reason why the association was founded and why we are worked very hard to get this study funded, because such a macroeconomic study is quite expensive and takes some time also to conclude and roll out. Next to the numbers that I mentioned, we have in the last 7 years, because it took us 7 years to repeat the study. So there was a baseline created in 2018, and now in 2024, sorry, in 2020, did a follow-up study. So now we have a baseline and new data that we can compare with. And again, similar to the exceptional amount of academics and young people that are working in industry, the growth of our industry was exceptional in the last 7 years. So we have around 150 entities working in games. Why I'm saying entity, this includes larger studios, up to 80, 90 people that exist in Austria, but also covering one-person studios or one-person companies, developers or smaller teams, up to 5 to 10 people. That's what I said at the beginning. The structure is mainly micro and small businesses. That is how it is at the moment. Obviously, we would like to evolve there. Again, the term evolve, but that is the capacity, the scope of studios in Austria or entities. And in these studios, more than 1,000 people are working in games. So these are people that are capable of making a living out of games. And what is interesting, absolute numbers are not that high, but the growth is exceptional. But the growth in studios is 70%. The growth in people is more than 80%. And what's also exceptional is the growth of revenue, because this is what macroeconomics is measured by. The direct impact and the direct revenue created by Austrian developers in 2024 was 90 something million in comparison to 25 million in 2018. So that is triple the size than before, more than triple the size. It's the combined effects of game development in Austria. That is the added value, or in German, die Wertschöpfung. That is 180 mil. So we are getting close to 200 million euros that the Austrian industry is basically worth, or the value that we are putting on the table of the overall Austrian economic, which is, it's not billions, but it is a significant number that everyone working in games should be proud of.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. I'm also surprised by the number of 80% of the people having finished a higher education in games. That's really awesome. And even if the people do not stay forever, like you said, that most of them are below 35, the games industry is then also fostering the other industries where those people then go to, because they have a solid sense of programming, and it's full stack, it's end-to-end game programming. You have to talk to the customer at one day. You have to work interdisciplinary. There are so many aspects. It's like the many sides of a diamond.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Just to go to the next topic, what is totally of interest for us in Klagenfurt and also for me, because I'm pushing it forward extremely, is that people build a portfolio so that when they finish their education, they already have a page or something platform where they show their games. And one of those things where I push them to is to submit to the PGDA Student Award. Can you explain for us what it is?
This is a twofold initiative. First, we would like to put the universities into spotlight for all the great work that they're doing by kind of helping talent to get the formal education they need in order to start successfully as graduates into the industry. And this is something that we should also really be proud of, that in the last 15 years or so, very great network of universities, many universities of applied science was created across Austria. Basically, we have a triangle between Salzburg, Upper Austria, and Carinthia. Vienna, unfortunately, even though it's the capital, is missing out a little bit. So actually, these three cities or these three districts are the leading factor on the education side for games in Austria. It's really important for us to show and put the universities in front of the curtain saying, okay, if you would like to have a formal education, if you want to work in games, it's not a dream. It's not somewhere in the UK or in the US. You can start your career with doing an education at an Austrian university. Even on secondary level, there are options in Austria through the HTLs. And it's a good start. It's a very qualitative education. It's super important. So one part is focusing and putting spotlight on the educational sides. And the other thing is obviously focusing on the students and giving them a chance to shine and give them the stage for their projects. And I'm pretty impressed because I'm doing this for quite some time and also teaching at universities. The growth of quality in the master thesis or the master projects or bachelor projects has increased significantly over the years. And it's really cool to see what kind of projects are created and developed and actually shipped on platforms like Steam, for example, in a way and polished that is really impressive to watch every year. And it's getting better every year. So the idea is really to offer students this stage. And alongside with the award itself comes obviously the reward. And the reward is, and that's what I said at the beginning with the focus of the association, putting the focus on economics. We really would like to support the potential commercial aspects of student projects, because we believe also that it's super important that students use the time at universities, the safety net that universities offer to kind of work on projects, and then at least think about translating a student project into a commercial project and doing a little bit of entrepreneurship and starting a company. Because that's what we actually need. We need projects which are kind of a currency for a community and a location, a site like Austria, because investors look at the overall offer of a location. So it's not one studio or one game. They would like to see the bandwidth of projects that are available at a location in Austria. So that's really, really important. And that's the reason why the winner team gets a booth at the Gamescom in Cologne. And on top, they get a 6-month mentoring program from senior people in the industry to help the team, if they want to commercialize their project. Like, I don't know, on the polishing side, on the marketing side, on the communication side, on the investment side. How do you speak to publishers? How do you find publishers? How do you find an investor? So it's a good package that we are offering in order to kind of create more projects, more studios, more employment, so that we pay more taxes, which makes us more relevant to politicians, because in the end, it's what they get and what we get, and everyone needs to be happy leaving the table. That's how it works.
Yeah, that should be the win-win situation, but it's not often easy to communicate it. But I'm with you, absolutely. So just a really crazy question. Could you please give us an elevator pitch directly to the students why they should submit to the PGDA.
First, you get professional feedback and a review of your project with the package that you need to submit, which is an elevator pitch, a trailer, screenshots, a PR one-pager. So basically the package that you need in order to get to the Gamescom or get a good investor meeting at Gamescom. You need that package anyway. So you have the chance to have senior people review your package. Secondly, the short list of 3 teams, the first winners, so to speak, they get a free booth at the Level Up Festival in Salzburg, end of June, beginning of July, which is the largest consumer games event in Austria, which is very cool to be there because all the other developers, also the commercial successful and larger established studios are there. So it's a good chance to network, to exchange, talk to other developers, show your game, get additional feedback. Then you get, if you win, quality stage time to present yourself and your team and your project. And then there's a huge advantage of being at or attending Gamescom, getting the booth. And that is equivalent of the financial equivalent is roughly 5K. So that's a lot actually for students, and the industry is paying that. So the PGDA and larger studios are sponsoring this booth for the Talent Award winner at Gamescom, which is a significant investment from the industry and from the studios into talent or for talent, the next big team coming out of Austria, the next big project. And you benefit, or the team benefits from, again, senior people being at Gamescom. We are helping. If there are questions, we're there to support them. So it's, again, a very safe environment where you have the chance for the first time to go on an international stage presenting and pitching your game. And there are other senior people from Austria that are next to you, offering you a shoulder, and you can always ask questions quickly if there's something that you're uncomfortable with or don't know yet about. So it's a good package overall for someone to get started.
That's really awesome. That is a package I would like to have. Maybe I wouldn't have ended up in education, but actually in games development. On the other hand, I like it in education, seeing all the people spreading out and then seeing where they ended up. And sometimes even I end up in the credits of one or the other computer game. So although I just said a few wise words or non so wise, I don't know. So speaking beyond the award, how can people engage with the PGDA? I know of your website, I know of your Discord server, I know of an event that might be coming up in Klagenfurt.
Well, the lowest barrier for everyone is the mentioned Discord server. There is no paywall. You don't need to be a member of PGDA, even though we obviously would love to see more members. It's not about the money because for students, for example, it's 25 euros per year. That's not really much. It's not about financing the association, but it's really about getting steam and getting the people and the studios and the developers behind us, because the bigger our crowd, the more impact we have when we talk to decision makers. So it's really about the support that we get from the community so that our word and our voice is stronger when we talk to the economy of chambers, for example, or other people in ministries that are supporting games and are realizing that the industry is existing. So that is the easiest way to communicate or getting in touch with other developers, because on the Discord server, pretty much anyone between Neusiedlersee and Bodensee is there. So the Discord server is something where you can ask questions, you can ask for help, you can pitch your idea, you can amplify your social media posts about your games and your development. So you will find other like-minded people that are easy to reach out to and easy to get in contact with. So that's the lowest barrier and the lowest threshold to get in touch with other developers. Other than that, pretty much every district has so-called meetups where developers and, again, like-minded people meet at least once a month and speak about games, present projects, get review and feedback. And PGDA is trying to be part or attend at least once a year a meetup in every district, because we really believe that it's not about Vienna. PGDA is for everyone in Austria, and that needs to be reflected by the fact that the Viennese people needs to get out of Vienna and need to be present, being part of the entire community. Because there were previous initiatives that failed because it was driven by Viennese people that never left Vienna, and that couldn't work. And that was one of the first things when we started PGDA. It was clear that we need to get out, communicate, and network. And one of the first things I did is getting on a car and driving around Austria, introducing myself and the PGDA. And everyone was like super happy that this stupid Vienna guy is coming to Carinthia, Salzburg, Tirol. It's like, you're coming to us. How lovely. So that is an important factor and a success driver for PGDA, that we're always thinking about the entirety of Austria and not only about the eastern part in the capital. So this is the next thing, and something that brings together the developers on topics that might or hopefully are important, is we have so-called fireside talks, usually once a month. Sometimes it's only every second month. It's a call that PGDA is organizing via Discord, where we invite people from politics, from the economic chamber, the Chamber of Economics, sorry, to speak about something, or we ask the community about topics that are important for them, and then we try to find people with the right expertise just to explain specific topics, like lawyers about IP law, which might feel dry, but it's an important thing about what we're doing. And you mentioned Klagenfurt, what we do, and this is one of our success stories or success initiatives. We established so-called mentoring cafes I think 3 years ago. This is a service that the PGDA is offering to all educational sites in Austria, where we offer 2 hours or an afternoon or even a day, if that is required or requested, where we offer content. We basically offer senior people that are offering their time and trying to exchange thoughts with students and offering advice and just being there, like reviewing projects, reviewing elevator pitches, just being there to answer questions. And we are planning such an event in June in Klagenfurt for the second time. And I'm super excited and looking forward to that, because I felt it was very successful last year with lots of people attending, lots of questions asked. It was kind of difficult to stop because nobody wanted to stop in the end, because it was ongoing with questions and remarks and exchanges on a very interesting level. These are success stories for us, where we also see that what we do on a voluntary basis has a huge impact to people and to students, and that is basically our motivation to continue with this initiative.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is what we had as an event with you last year was huge. It was awesome. Very much appreciated, and we are absolutely looking forward to have you. June 13, I can drop the date. And while we're still far away from Vienna, we will be a step closer together, Vienna and Carinthia, next year with the new trade line. So then we can meet more often.
Please, let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope it starts operating in December. Yeah, so you also mentioned founding studios and projects, investors, and so on. And of course, one of the main things our students have in mind is working in game industry. And I basically would distinguish two paths. One would be to start as an employee somewhere. So and the other one would be to be self-employed, like founding a studio alone with other people, making a group that is ready as a gun for hire or something like that. What are the pros and cons? What are perspectives right now in Austria? What would you recommend?
Well, looking back at the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, what PGDA did and what I personally did, because I'm convinced about that, is that universities, and you changed your curriculums in the last couple of years in that direction, that we need more entrepreneurship, and you're offering that in your curriculum, and you're helping students to be prepared to potential step into founding a company or a studio, because that's the reality at the moment. I was talking about 150 entities and a bit more than 1,000 people that are employed or working in games. Fortunately, the structure is not big enough yet to take on everyone that graduates as an employee. And that's the reason why it's so important that at least a few students or a few teams take the leap of faith in founding a company, because that's what we actually need in order to evolve. We need to think bigger and have a larger structure of smaller studios and hopefully at one point larger studios that are successful in having a hit, because we are a hit-driven industry. Austria would benefit from a huge hit that is coming out of our community. That's something we're lacking a little bit in the last couple of years. I understand that not everyone is up for running their own studio. It is not the easiest path to take, definitely not, but it is an option. And what I said at the beginning is it is a good opportunity out of university where you have a year, because you're offering also students more than one semester to focus on the project. So you have enough time to prepare, to get a good prototype, a good leverage that you can then pitch and trying to find an investment. I know it's not easy and it's easy said. Maybe all of the, I mean, I'm almost 55. For me, starting something new is a bit more difficult. When you're younger, things are a little bit easier. And again, having the safety net of the university, using the university like an incubator that you're also offering, I think that's a good chance for a first step and see if it works or not. With the employment side, again, there's limited slots or spots available at studios. We know that also with internships, that is always a big concern. The industry is trying to improve, and all the established larger studios are really trying to offer at least 1 to 2 internships per year. I know that doesn't sound like much, but the structure is not like we are a large software company with a couple of thousand people where an HR department can take over and take care of the interns. So we would like to offer meaningful internships, working on real projects and not doing coffee and copying. And that's the reason why the reality is that we can't take on as many interns as we would like to. But we are doing our best to offer quality internships and be meaningful and respectful with students that are working in the studios. So basically, it's something that people or a person, an individual need to make up their mind what they would like to do. If they would like to try something at a young age and see if it works, or trying to find a job as an employee in the industry. Working as a freelancer, the third pillar, is a different story because it needs to be really clear that this is maybe the toughest part, because what you easily forget is not only the need to work on something and to find work, because you need to also do the acquisition, but you also need to maintain your studio, your freelance entity, meaning that you need to take care of IT, you need to take care of the licensing, you need to take care of purchasing, you need to take care of your taxes. And next to all of that, you basically need to work for a client so that you have a revenue. So it might sound easy, but being a single person freelancer, that is not the easiest path to take.
Yeah, that would be the heroes if they can manage everything. And then the car breaks.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, actually that supports my impression of the whole thing. We had actually, after your last visit to Klagenfurt, we had this wonderful burger evening, and I talked a lot to Rainer actually, and you and all the other people, and we came up with the idea to help with the entrepreneurship a little bit. Now it's under review, but our idea would actually be what you said. So it matches very well. I listened closely last time. We would start with the students with the first prototype at the first game jam, then let them in the second semester submit to PGDA. Then they can do their internship to work either on a new project or refine their old one, and then finish up with the master thesis. And then they would have at least 2 prototypes and a polished game, so that they can then approach, after the accelerator program, they actually can approach an incubator or submit a proposal to Vorgründen, Austrian Wirtschaftsservice, or whatever. So then you can fund your company for a year, you're in the safe zone, and then let's hope it takes off.
Yeah, that's the 2 good points that you mentioned. One is the funding part, especially with AWS, with the Austrian Wirtschaftsservice. They changed the model, so they're not funding projects anymore, but are focusing on startups. So it's a good, or the only way in order to get funding from AWS is founding an entity, most likely a limited company, and they're only focusing on startups in the first 5 years. When you're older than that, you're not eligible for funding anymore. That's a pity, but that's how they are set up. And that means that the ways to kind of get funding on project level is quite difficult, but it's different on the startup side because with all the, critic on previous governments, we have to acknowledge that a lot of heart and a lot of thoughts and a lot of money was invested into startups and a startup structure. And I think that Austria has benefited from that and improved in order to start a company and get first seed funding. It's a bit easier than it was 10 years ago. So we need to also acknowledge that a few things have changed to the better in the last couple of years and not only be too negative about things that are happening in Austria.
That's true. It could be a little faster when you look at, for instance, all the AI companies. They have not been founded in Austria because the technology was too new. So they're still all in California. But as you said, the situation changed a lot. We had two of those proposals in Klagenfurt, and they have successfully founded a company. So that's pretty cool, actually. And we are hoping for more all over Austria. That would be awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, so maximizing the prospects of a student, be it the study foundation of a studio, of a company, or finding a job, what would you tell people if they ask you, what should I do to maximize my CV for games?
It's an obvious question, right? We're answering this, I guess both of us answering this very often. So I believe that the majority and basically everyone in games in Austria are thoughtful people that can evaluate graduates the way they should be evaluated when portfolio projects and the CVs coming in. We are not expecting graduates to have 5 years work experience and basically want to have a senior and pay for a graduate. This is not how games work. We can review and value what is there and can put that in context that it's coming from someone who just finishing a study. I think that is one important thing that I feel is different to other industries. And the other thing is that is a bit complementing what you said before. I think it's very important that the universities are helping or also pushing students to publish their projects for free on itch.io or on Steam, because going through the submission cycle once, this is what we are doing on a daily basis. We're not shipping that often, but this is how the daily work at the studio and a developer looks like. So having finished something and going through the submission process on Steam, for example, it became more complicated in the last couple of years. So it's not just finishing something and pressing a button. You need to go through forms. You need to be accurate and precise in what you're submitting, what you're delivering, how the build needs to be set up, and so on. And these are valuable experiences that are beneficial when you apply at a studio, because obviously we're looking for people who have done that cycle at least once, even if it's just a student project or just a student project. So trying to have the full value of a project from concept phase to submission, if you can offer that, that gives you a big boost in your application. I think that is something important for everyone to consider. Starting something and finishing something. Don't be shy about your student projects. Be proud of what you have achieved. Don't say, it's just a student project or it's a small project. Yes, it is, but it's what you have done, what you have achieved. Be proud of it. Put it out there and brag about it. When more people or a team of maybe 2, 3, 4 people working on a project, be precise in explaining what you have done, because you're not applying as a team, but as an individual. And in order to evaluate what is submitted for a studio, we need to know from a project of 4 people what this person that is applying for a specific job has done on that project to actually get an understanding of the skill set. And the last thing that is really something that is happening very often, we get applications where people say, I'm basically a generalist. I can do everything. I can do everything you want to. I just would like to work in games. The thing is, I understand that. I know that. But it's not helping, because you need to tell people or studios at least, okay, what is your main interest? What are you good at now? Because you have done that in the last semester, for example, but what is actually what you would like to evolve to? What is what you would like to do in 2 or 3 years now? Is it still the stuff that you did recently at the university, or is that part of the study and you would like to do actually something different? And that is something you need to tell the people that are reading your application, because otherwise we can't judge where your path could be and where your potential could be. It's also sometimes that we get applications for a specific role and then the portfolio is not backing up that application at all. That is also very difficult. I understand, and it's again coming from what I said, the university or the last semester, the focus might have been something different. So all the assets that you created are not in line with the job that you're applying for, but then explain it, saying that, okay, last semester my focus was on 2D, but I'm applying for 3D. But my heart and my wish is being a 3D artist or becoming a 3D artist. And before last semester, it's a bit older. It's not the latest. It might not be the best because I was a bit younger then. But these are my 3D assets that I can show. Always show the best that you've done that represents you now. And when it's not in line with what you're applying for, explain why it's not in line with. Then we understand. But when you apply for a 3D artist with only concept assets, that won't work without explaining.
Okay, that is actually really new to me, but I can absolutely relate. So if you don't have anything relevant, then show the best and explain why this is not possible to show relevant stuff, and then complement it with the relevant, which is not the best. That's an awesome idea. Thank you very much.
What we are really, at least me, Pumi, is really trying to do that. For us, it's always important to see the potential and the path that lies before someone. And what helps us to understand that and predict and see that is the progress that is shown in a portfolio. It's totally okay to show all the stuff, because when you put it in context to the latest cool stuff, we see, okay, you have already evolved and you have already progressed in your skill set in the last 2 years, and you progressed significantly. This means that potentially there's more potential there, that when we help you, you could evolve even further. This is what we would like to see. We would like to always see the journey and the progress, and you always should show progression. That is how economics, industry, and profession works, unfortunately.
If we know it, then we can handle it. That's the academic approach to that. Awesome. Thank you very much. That was incredibly insightful. It was also very, very interesting to listen to you. I had the huge opportunity to ask questions, which the others do not have because they see the recording. Yeah, well, you can post the questions, and you can come June 13 to Klagenfurt, where Martin will be there, and just note down your questions, and we'll be happy to discuss them there at the Developers Cafe. So I think we're good for today. Martin has some work to do in the evening. I have still to cut and edit something. I don't know what. And yeah, so thank you very much again, Martin. Anything you want to say as final words for closing the podcast?
As hard as it is to enter the industry, it's worth it. It's a wonderful place to be, even though the sun is not shining all the time. But that's like in any other job. There's sometimes clouds that you need to deal with. But I'm doing this for 26 years now, and I'm super happy and feel extremely privileged to found my place in the industry and having fun basically every day, working with very talented people, also very young people that keep me on the edge, even though I'm very old already. And that is, again, also a privilege. And game development, that's more for the parents out there. It is a safe space. We don't judge people. We are happy with everyone who is joining us. No matter who you are, what kind of character you are, there's a place for you if you want to. And if you work hard, the door will open for you and you will have a good time in a safe environment.
Thank you very much. That is very motivating, and I support everything you said, besides that you're old, because that would then mean that I'm old too. And we're both not old. We're in the best age, I would say.
Okay.
The best age.
Fair
yeah,
enough.
we are best age and motivated, and we are working with people who are younger than us and motivated.
Yeah, true.
Great. Awesome. That wraps it up for today. Thank you very much. I will put into the show notes the link to PGDA and the Discord server of PGDA. Then you know how to contact the people from the Pioneers of Game Development Austria. And of course, if you're interested in our master program, Game Studies in Engineering, I'll also put the link there where you can ask questions. So thank you again, Martin. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you around. Bye-bye.